Hello, friends. Today we are going to talk about UN General Assembly latest resolution passed on 28th March 2024 and its implications, the role of America, other permanent members, and how is it going, what role peace leaders can play in bringing peace in the world as a whole with a context of Israel Hamas war. So we have with us a very renowned Professor Khurana, who is an electronics graduate, MBA from IIM Ahmedabad, and then PhD in industrial economics, and has a lot of interest in geopolitical environment. I would like Professor Khurana to brief on the subject. The latest resolution has been a surprise to the world that where most of the countries want a ceasefire during this Ramzan for Israel and Hamas war. But US, which is being considered as one of the most powerful nation, surprised the world by not supporting the ceasefire and standing against it. So, according to you, how is it going to impact? And what do you think that over the years, can we say that the humans have become more insensitive, or they are just looking it from the angle of their own powers, their own economical, or somewhere down the line, their own personal interest, that they are not supporting even a concept like peace uh, in the world?
Thank you very much, Dr. Kara. You have positioned the issue properly. We all know it's a very complex issue,
Mhm.
and you touch one portion of it, and then there's another portion that gets connected to another portion.
Yes, yes.
But still, if we do it by part by part by part by
Mm.
part, we develop it somewhat overall understanding. The stage has now come where uh, sincere people have to ask the question, what can be done? Uh, Israel has shown its behavior, and USA with absolutely blindfolded support for it, and you can take for granted NATO with it. They have been acting in one particular fashion. Uh, so if we start just for this particular area, that is time period, that is 7th October Hamas attack,
Mm.
and then 8th August, 8th October onwards, Israel, which is still going on, uh, event, and then what's the diplomatic community? I'm using the word diplomatic community because there is a military arena where there is no military supporting the Palestinian cause. Um, Hamas, Hezbollah, and all that. These are all guessed that they might be doing, but we don't know for sure and all that. On the other hand, Israel is a well organized military, and then something like $16 billion a year has been supported
Mm.
to Israel, almost $200 billion. And of course, the Jewish community also very rich all over the world,
Mm.
especially USA supports them, and they have unfortunately a uh, uh, very conservative government, very strict in thought process
Mm.
government, Israel I mean, and they have not twinkled a bit about very heavy losses for children and women injured and civilian infrastructure hurt. In a small place with 2.4 million people,
Mm.
this kind of uh, destruction has probably not been seen before. Now, I think there was a bit of slip when you mentioned the UNGA
Mm.
um, resolution. It is the Security Council resolution, which was passed on 28th so,
March.
on March. So latest is and just before that was the 193 member
Mm.
UNGA resolution, which we'll talk about, which was not unanimous, but
Mm.
strongly in favor of a resolution. So here the main issue has been that those people who are supporting it, most of the world is supporting it.
Mm.
So if you take the UNGA resolution, then 153 countries voted in favor of.
Exactly.
ceasefire, and 23 abstained. I think India was one of them, and 10 countries voted against.
Hmm.
Now that is there for international opinion, actually. You know?
Yeah,
Uh,
it's an
uh,
international
uh,
opinion
uh,
regarding that. But again, that was one resolution which was on in the
Past,
month of
yes, yes.
March only. Then again, one more by Security Council itself
Yeah, I
on
will
20.
come. We'll come to that.
Okay.
I was just
Hmm.
clarifying that
Hmm.
that was not the General Assembly one. But please
Hmm. Hmm.
complete your question.
So, what it seems like US is getting selfish. It seems like the powerful nations, those who should come in front and standing for the sake of the poor people dying, are behaving differently, and it is something more than the power game. It seems like they're just uh, thinking it in terms of their arms trade they're doing, because being the biggest exporter to the world, and just they want to save that export part, because somewhere down the line, in other industries, I feel they are facing a recession. This is one sector, one industry which is growing, so that's why they don't want a ceasefire now, because they want.
Okay, let's put it this way. Um, the issues are complex,
Hmm.
right? Because if you touch one issue, people might say military-industrial complex of USA, in whose interest it is to make as many weapons as possible,
Hmm.
sell them, use them up, and get more money from the Congress. And the Congress will go and get a budget passed of
Hmm.
the armed forces, $876 billion now,
Hmm.
right? And somebody else will go and get the dollars printed.
Hmm.
And that is the advantage which USA has got, having the reserve currency.
Yes.
So it does not feel. And there are a lot of congressmen and senators
Hmm.
whose interests are involved.
Hmm.
We don't say anything negative, but interests related to these factories being located, bases being located in their constituencies,
Hmm. Hmm.
which means employment, which means
Okay.
which means
Hmm.
economy. You
Hmm.
know?
Hmm.
So I want a shipyard, I want a naval yard, I want uh, assembly plant for the planes and so on and so forth.
Hmm.
So the bigger the budget, the bigger the employment there, the bigger the economic activity. And many of those are where other economic activities and manufacturing activities almost evaporated. It's 876, out of which only a couple of $100 billion is manpower.
Hmm.
Rest 600 is equipment. This is more than the rest of the world put together.
Exactly.
We'll be looking at
The graphs.
the numbers.
Hmm.
Now, here, therefore, what we are discussing, we are not talking about military strength, military
Hmm.
expenditures, the meaning of that, the meaning of India buying from Israel,
Hmm.
Israel being one of the major suppliers now. That's
Hmm.
why we are quieter. Um Israel is the major supplier to Singapore. Singapore is quieter. Israel is becoming a supplier to uh, Far East, Southeast, as we used to
Hmm.
call them, because the French and the American things are more expensive, while Israel, USA itself, US company themselves have factories there in Israel,
Hmm.
and so on, so forth. But today we are talking diplomatic issues. That diplomatically, what has been achieved,
Hmm.
what is achievable, and having got this resolution passed finally, the 28th March one, right?
Hmm.
Where 10 independently elected members and 4 permanent members, including
Hmm.
UK and France, China and Russia, um, voted in favor, while USA kept quiet about it, right?
Hmm.
Now, sometimes people say USA, we compare it to a very humanitarian place. The
Hmm.
people who are civilized, achieved a lot, and so on.
Hmm.
Yes, there are people like that. But when you look at government, governments behave differently. Government behaves like a bully boy. I am the boss around the world.
Hmm.
Do anything and I will chop you off. The language is take out Hamas, take out Iran, take out
Hmm.
Khomeini, take out. It's just like you tell we have to hit Gunda somewhere.
Hmm.
Take out Khomeini, change the regime.
Hmm.
That's. That's a very old thinking. Grounded is not working.
Hmm.
It's not working here either. It is not working in Ukraine.
Hmm.
It is not Ukraine in 40 other places where US is involved in some or the other conflict.
Hmm.
Sudan and Sahel region and A, B, C, D and all that. Because typology of war itself has changed,
Hmm.
which we will take up a little later.
Hmm.
It is not just electronics also, but it is something to deal with uh, not the humans having one-to-one combat, but your equipment having the
Hmm.
combat, and how expensive that equipment is
Hmm.
makes it worse. Okay, we come to this. Now, coming to this, when with a lot of diplomatic effort, these 10 countries put up a resolution
Hmm.
and passed it. USA says, oh, but no, this is not binding.
Hmm.
Then you say, okay, what is the legality of it? Now, if you start talking about legality of a resolution passed by 14 people of Security Council,
Hmm.
right? Then there is an issue. Uh, Therefore, what it comes to it, though views of different countries, the representatives are available and so
Hmm.
on. First of all, they wanted ceasefire. And USA and Israel saying we are not going to have a ceasefire unless those captives come to us, right?
Hmm.
And we take out Hamas. Now
Hmm.
that is the definition. You can't, or that's a line you can't define. What do you mean take out Hamas, right? Okay. So same thing has been said by the U.S. Representative.
Hmm.
And then you go to the next step that this was only for the month of Ramadan.
Hmm.
15 days are already gone. Ramadan will be gone. Where is the humanitarian aid? Egypt also has not opened the door. Jordan has not opened any doors.
Hmm.
The jetty of USA, that plane, that ship thing we are making, uh, is not yet ready. So what do these fellows eat, and where the medicines come from, and so on. So we talk about is that in addition to the diplomatic effort,
Hmm.
military effort is a different issue. We can't discuss because obviously nobody is coming to military support of theirs.
Hmm.
Otherwise, perhaps Arab nations could have come. But like it has happened in the past,
Hmm.
and like USA thinks that it is successful, that is sanctions, that there is an option of putting sanctions. Now, Houthis, they rule their own area. They're not terrorists.
Hmm.
They have a government in China. China, that's the capital. They said any plane and anything going to Israel and their property, we will not let it go, right? And they've abided by that. You've gone and bombed their homes, so now that is sanctions,
Hmm.
right? Those sanctions have already meant a lot of things for shipping, things getting delayed, etc. And Somalis and other pirate groups coming up. Hmm. And India has shown uh, its colors in the best possible fashion by managing actually all these episodes of pirates,
Hmm.
right? And in the Indian Ocean. So not the Americans, not anybody else, not that group of 12 of prosperity who has saved a single sailor, while the Indian Navy has done it, right? Okay, so this is where I say it is complex.
It's complex, but again, somewhere down the line, I feel uh, that there is a need for countries or country leaders to take a stand. Probably, if may not be the developed or developing, I'll not categorize it at develop or developing. I'll categorize it at as the nations, those who are peace-loving nations, their people, their leaders should come in forefront. They must take some stand. Only then issues like this could have some resolution.
See,
Otherwise, it's becoming complex.
here the issue is about the media, okay, which can be a separate big section,
Yeah,
right?
because when it comes
But
to media, again, yes, as you
uh,
rightly mentioned,
but
it is in itself a big topic to talk about.
but today you leave out the so-called standard media of
Hmm.
the USA. But you go to the alternative media, you look at something like Al Jazeera, whose a lot
Hmm.
of journalists have
Hmm.
been killed also,
Hmm.
right? Because Qatar supports it. And Qatar is in between also, so they don't take too much panga with them also. You come to know a lot of things. A lot of leaders have spoken about things, right? And Chador, the foreign minister of South Africa, she is giving such measured statements about why South Africa went and did this ICT. Now, please remember before I forget, USA
Hmm.
is not a member of ICT.
Hmm.
USA does not give a single dime to UNRWA. USA was not a member of the WHO during Trump's time.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I can keep on counting. That all the humanitarian things, they have a lot of money, right? But they don't have money for good things.
That's a different part. Again,
Okay,
let's
okay.
not concentrate on one country. Let's talk it as a whole. As a whole, when I look into the picture,
Mm.
I feel there is a lack of consortium or a lack of collective efforts, I would say. A collective efforts from the organizations in different countries, the so-called countries, the organizations which call them as the peace organizations, that collective efforts is
Should I tell you
required.
something frankly?
Yeah.
Lots of effort is happening in Europe,
Hmm.
in Southeast Asia also. India and South Asia have been mum.
Hmm.
Sometimes I wonder why.
I was supposed to come to that only, that these organizations should take a stand. We talk about
No,
peace
India
or
surprisingly has been quiet about it.
India, Southeast Asian countries not speaking much about it.
Maybe
Are
media
we
again. Media doesn't say.
lacking good leaders like Mahatma Gandhi or Nelson Mandela? Or
This is related to leadership.
are we lacking? Can we
No,
say
no, this
that?
is related to leadership. Leadership may or may not have interest in such things. They may have interest in having good relationship with Israel.
Yes, it's a philosophy of leadership. Which
They
philosophy?
may,
But don't you think it's the right time where a country like India, we call ourselves spiritual, we call ourselves the one who started the peace movements, or South African or African nations, where we had leaders like Nelson Mandela, and they talk and they boast a lot about it. Someone, our youth should take us.
our youth,
Huh.
because of pocketbook issues,
Hmm.
is interested in engineering, in AI,
Hmm.
in management, in how the money can be
Doubled.
hidden on different parts of the world,
Huh.
how different ships get registered somewhere else and get owned somewhere else, and so on and so forth. But not in liberal arts, not in
Hmm.
these broader issues, even of their own nation,
Yeah.
even of their own
Yes.
nation.
Yes.
They are like inert.
Hmm.
So yes, there is a problem.
So there is a requirement of curriculums like this. There is a requirement
There
of
is a
teachings
definite
like this.
requirement. There is a
Hmm.
definite requirement, and it is up to the management. It is up to the institutions to kind of induct these, quote
Hmm.
unquote, compulsorily, yeah, into the curriculum, so that they discuss it. Otherwise, they will even forget about Mahatma Gandhi,
Right.
how he created sanctions in India. Of that, we will not buy the cloths made by UK
Is
mills.
it that people have become more insensitive now to
No,
what is happening other in others world, or what is happening in
no. On one hand, there is something that I have quick knowledge. Whenever I want, I can take Google and so on. So on. This is one thing.
hmm.
So that thorough study of philosophy of somebody, Tolstoy's War and Peace or
Hmm.
something,
Hmm.
enjoying literature of that kind,
Hmm.
that has gone down.
That has gone down. Even in, if I look at the European nations, they had a leader like Schumann who talked about peace a lot, who propagated it. But again, now we don't talk about such leaders. Now we hardly see such examples.
Now you will say that don't talk about media. The social media has become a quick media. It has become an instant media. It is not very conducive for philosophical study.
Mhm.
Maybe. Okay. So now coming to this, on diplomatic front, something has been achieved. Not much because after Ramadan is over,
Again.
again it is
Hmm.
going to be open. Uh, slowly the word opinion has shifted in favor of Palestine and against Israel. Slowly the opinion has also shifted against USA for
Mm.
supporting it blindfolded way. Slowly the opinion has shifted that they don't say Israelis, but the Israeli government currently is does not have morals, if you ask me, and that some solution has to be found out. Solution will be found out because when something goes beyond a particular level, uh, there is a God
Mm.
up there, and so when the UN people themselves start resigning, because they can't
Mm.
do anything, they start dying. They start setting up new organizations themselves, right?
Mm.
Uh, which means that there is a hope. There is a hope.
There's a hope, right? So let us summarize what we have discussed today, because there is lot other topics we can have complete discussions on what we had today. So broadly, there is a hope of peace, but for that, youth need to be sensitized. Instant media is refraining them to study the philosophical aspects, because of which we are finding a difference. And when it comes to UN as an organization, the stand is still not clear. And a lot of groundwork is required to bring or to establish peace between Israel and Hamas. Not only Israel and Hamas in nations like this, because it's getting complex and a lot of stakeholders being involved, not understanding right now that they'll have the repercussions later on. Right now, probably thinking from one angle, making it difficult to resolve. That's what we feel.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.